Good morning. This is Tony Graham with UNIVERGE Blue Business Cloud Services by NEC. This morning I'm here with Bruce Gibbs, President of ServiceMark Telecom in Kansas City. ServiceMark is a certified UNIVERGE Blue Lighthouse Associate, so his representatives have been specially trained. He understands the product in depth, and we're looking for insights. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning.
Can you tell me a little bit about ServiceMark's history and its place in the Kansas City business community?
Sure, and Tony, thanks as well for the conversation here this morning. I've personally been in the telephone system business in Kansas City since 1981. Then ServiceMark was formed in 1995, and I was the first employee of ServiceMark, but I was not the founder of ServiceMark. Larry Stewart was the founder of ServiceMark, and Larry was an example of generosity, both locally and nationally. Larry was known for random acts of kindness, and for years he was Kansas City's secret Santa. He gave away $100 bills to people in need at Christmas time. Larry passed away in 2007, but his legacy continues to this day. A bit more about ServiceMark, and we're an exclusive NEC associate. For many years we've been recognized as an NEC Double Diamond Associate. Recently, we were selected to be a Lighthouse Associate for UNIVERGE Blue Cloud Services from NEC. And a couple of years ago, we also received an International NEC Sales, Marketing, and Leadership Award. As I understand it, these awards are given to only about 10 winners internationally. And on a personal note, I received word that we won the award immediately after my wife and I arrived home, after we were miraculously survived a car wreck, and my wife was in a wheelchair for a couple of months. And it was in that year that our small company continued to grow for reasons that were beyond me. And in particular, ServiceMark employees had my back at a time that I was focused on other matters like caring for my wife.
It sounds like ServiceMark is very much a family-oriented business with quite extensive ties into the community.
Interesting you would say this. Yeah, we do refer to ourselves as a family. There was a gentleman, Steve Palermo, made some comments at a 20th anniversary party when we celebrated 20 years in business. He recognized we were a family. I think he said we're like a family that gets along. So that's very much the case with ServiceMark.
So with all your ties into the community there in Kansas City, cloud communications have been around for a few years now, but what interest level or deployment trends are you seeing in Kansas City?
Well, in Kansas City, I see cloud deployments for the smallest of customers. Some of these customers too small to invest in an on-premises business telephone system. But I might also add that we have replaced a lot of non-NEC cloud phone system solutions with on-premises phone systems from NEC. I think this is a result because many times there's poor call quality in a cloud solution. There can be a lack of functionality. I think some of it stems from poor planning and poor implementation by the cloud provider. I might also add that ServiceMark's specific market in Kansas City is for customers that can benefit and see the benefits of how ServiceMark plans and prepares, installs, trains, and supports our customers. I think that a successful deployment of a phone system solution, whether it's in the cloud or on-premises, begins with good planning. And we have a team of people that plans and prepares and executes the plan extremely well. If we're in the game competing, we rarely lose the sale of an on-premises phone system to a competing cloud provider. We're well known in Kansas City, and our website is easily found for people searching for a business phone system provider in Kansas City. But we're concerned about what opportunities we're missing because we're not even in the game for people that are specifically searching for cloud. We want to be a part of the conversation with customers that sincerely want to explore both cloud and on-premises solutions and to really determine what's best for their business. Up to this point, we're not known or easily found as a cloud provider of business phone systems. However, I think this is changing rapidly as our video and content that opens up the conversation about cloud versus on-premises phone systems and what's best for somebody's business. That's rapidly gaining recognition as authoritative and meaningful content.
I know in the last few years, Google Fiber was being deployed in Kansas City. How's that impacted business phone systems because of that bandwidth that becomes available for even SMBs, are they out there looking for cloud-based business phone systems?
Well, I think Google Fiber in Kansas City very well may be a game changer. We need to look at it that way. Kansas City was the first metropolitan area chosen by Google Fiber to offer this abundant bandwidth at very low costs. The build-out of Google Fiber, it's still a work in progress. The rollout to our business customers is gradual, but we have already seen customers utilize Google Fiber as a means of connectivity to cloud phone system solutions and as a means of connectivity of SIP trunks to NEC on-premise telephone systems.
Can you comment now on why ServiceMark is actually recommending cloud-based business phone systems in addition to traditional premise? It sounds like some of your customers are looking for it, and is it a combination of just Google and changing technology that's made you embrace cloud as a viable option?
Well, simply stated, we're now offering cloud-based phone systems because UNIVERGE Blue Cloud phone systems from NEC satisfy several key objections that we've had to other cloud offerings. And we've dealt with a lot of objections to the cloud in general, but I'm just going to mention a couple of objections that we've had and how those objections have been satisfied with NEC. My first objection is ServiceMark's history is installing reliable NEC phone systems to phone service that works almost 99.999% of the time. And we're concerned about poor quality over best effort internet connections. Call us crazy, we want this service to actually work after we install it. Well, generally speaking, voice over IP cloud providers don't even want to talk about quality of connections. For an example, prior to this podcast, I did a Google search of cloud versus on-premises phone systems. And after reviewing 9 articles that appeared first in my Google search, there was only a brief mention buried in one of those articles, even questioning the quality of internet connections in connecting to the cloud. The rest of the articles, it's non-existent to open up the conversation about quality. It seems to me that there is such a lacking of conversation of quality that it doesn't even seem responsible. Other providers are so quick to sell it and gobble up market share quick without even doing their due diligence to determine if the service will actually work over the customer's internet service. Now, NEC's concern for quality is very different from what I'm seeing from other providers. NEC won't even proceed with the installation of a cloud phone system unless we install a diagnostic tool at the customer's location to measure the quality of a customer's internet service as a means of connectivity to NEC's cloud-based telephone system. This is drastically different from what I'm seeing with the rest of the industry.
So this diagnostic tool actually sees if there's a connection, whatever the business's connection to the internet is, be it Google Fiber or some other provider, it checks to see if it's a viable connection that can provide that 5.9 quality of service?
Yes, it does more than just a quick check. Here's what we do. We install a diagnostic tool that NEC provides at the customer's location. We leave it there for a week or two. In the most simplistic of terms, it goes out and just makes test calls to NEC's cloud phone service. We get a report to be able to see what the call quality would be. For an example, with a recent customer that we just signed up for NEC Cloud Services, over a week and a half time period, we saw that there was one call that might have had a little bit of a garbled conversation. Wouldn't have been bad, but only one call out of about 500 test calls. That's the type of diagnostic tool that we install. Once again, I'm not seeing that of other cloud providers. They want to quickly go ahead and just install the service, yet the casualties of unhappy customers are just totally unacceptable, generally speaking, in the industry.
So in addition to just failure to measure the quality of an internet connection prior to putting in a cloud-based phone system, what other things are you seeing that kind of make you hesitant?
Well, here's another objection that I had to overcome. Generally speaking, amongst cloud providers of telephone system solutions, there's a very high churn rate of unhappy customers that try the cloud and leave the cloud. Generally speaking, the churn rate of unhappy customers that try the cloud is not acceptable. We've talked with many of them firsthand, that have had ServiceMark replace their failed cloud experiment. In contrast, NEC has had no churn of any customers that have installed a cloud phone system solution using NEC cloud services.
It's a nice point. It's an important point if I'm a small business owner. It does bring up another question I had. What is the relationship between ServiceMark Telecom and NEC? It sounds like it's a long-term partnership that existed way before cloud even hit the horizon.
It has. There's a long history here between ServiceMark and NEC. Officially, we're an NEC associate with credentials reserved for just a small percentage of NEC associates. Double Diamond Associate. We're the recipient of the International Leadership Award that I mentioned previously, and we were fortunate to be selected as a Lighthouse Associate for UNIVERGE Blue Cloud Services. But the word partnership is reserved for a small percentage of relationships. There is a meaningful business partnership between ServiceMark and NEC that has stood the test of time. I might add that one of the best decisions we ever made was to become an exclusive NEC associate, striving to be the best at selling and deploying NEC products as opposed to spreading ourselves too thin and doing too many things.
So what do your customers see when they're contracting with you or speaking to you? How does that partnership appear to them? What do they experience when they look at a new NEC phone system, be it cloud or on-premise?
Well, here in Kansas City, ServiceMark customers experience the installation of tangible hardware and software from NEC that has stood the test of time. And ServiceMark customers experience a local vendor that will do their due diligence to plan and set proper expectations and execute the plan so the first day of a phone system installation actually looks easy and is enjoyable.
So basically, as a local provider, you're taking all of those assets of a global company, but you're bringing it down to a small business owner or a medium-sized business or IT department and putting a human face on the deployment and actually being there to troubleshoot any issues that might arise.
Very well put. I couldn't say it better myself.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I had the proper image in my head and the proper profile. Given that, I know what press releases say, and I know what various articles might say, but how important is customer satisfaction for a company like ServiceMark and NEC for that matter?
Well, I think it's extremely important to both ServiceMark and NEC. I've mentioned several times about how important it is for us to plan and prepare well prior to the installation of a phone system. If for whatever reason we're not in a position to plan the project well, it's so important for us to have customer satisfaction that if we can't plan it well, I think we'd probably prefer not to do the project. That's how serious we take it. But the relationship between ServiceMark and NEC has always been good, even great. However, my admiration for NEC reached another level whenever I attended meetings at NEC's corporate office in Dallas related to NEC Cloud Phone System Solutions. I learned that there was zero churn of NEC Cloud customers, or to put it another way, there are no customers that have tried NEC Cloud phone systems that have quit the cloud. It seems to me that NEC's culture simply won't tolerate any unhappy customers. And furthermore, happy cloud customers is more important to NEC than gobbling up market share fast at the expense of other unhappy customers, which is what we see as a general trend within cloud phone system providers.
Is it safe to say that amongst the cloud providers, you're seeing a lot of the same kind of attitude as we saw with cell phones 15 years ago, where it was just get accounts no matter what and don't worry about any long-term satisfaction?
I think there is a parallel there, yes. I think the comparison is valid.
That kind of leads me to my next question. I remember cell phone networks when they first were going in, and I remember a lot of dissatisfaction. I remember everything being sunshine and roses and poppies when you were signing up and getting started. And when everything was going smoothly, it was great. But as soon as you had any kind of problem, very, very wide array of customer support and satisfaction. Can you give me any examples of how ServiceMark and NEC have worked together to overcome a problem or an issue one of your customers might have been experiencing?
Well, no matter how hard we all try, and I talked about how ServiceMark plans and prepares and things like that, we do our best, but yet at the same time, sometimes things don't always go just as planned, no matter how hard you try. And when things don't go well, then you're able to see what people and corporations are made of. And there was a recent example. It was just a couple of weeks after I went to the meeting about cloud services at NEC's corporate office. This was mid-November. ServiceMark completed the installation of an NEC SP9100 telephone system for a complex, and I might also say a very unique call center environment of about 50 people. 50 people, that may not be a big corporation, but at the same time, that's a good-sized call center that's taken a lot of calls. And everything worked great for about 4 days. Then phones seemed to randomly lock up. And within just a few days, the problem was escalated to Japan. An escalation to Japan only has happened one other time in ServiceMark history, and immediately I'm thinking, this is not good. I then quickly learned that our sense of urgency that we felt here in Kansas City, both ServiceMark and our customer, was not only felt at NEC headquarters in Dallas, but it was felt across the globe. And together, ServiceMark and NEC thought we had resolution to this problem. However, within a few days, we discovered that we had not resolved the problem. When we discovered that, NEC immediately sent 2 engineers on site, had others working to replicate the problem in lab environments both in Dallas and Japan, and within days, we achieved resolution to a firmware problem. Some thoughts about the partnership between ServiceMark and our customer and NEC can best be expressed directly from an email that I sent to my customer, and at times I'm just going to read directly from portions of that email. And this is what I mentioned to our customer after it was all done. NEC has proved a lot to us over the past few weeks. The trust I now have in NEC extends well beyond the individual people that I know. Some of these people I've known for 20 years. NEC has now become one of my most admired companies based on personal experiences as well as a fair amount of study of admirable corporations that I've done over the years. I mentioned to my customer, you and I now know that we have people at NEC that we don't even know on 2 continents that have our backs. Also, about a month ago, I was in NEC's corporate office in Dallas, and I learned that the culture of NEC simply will not tolerate any unhappy customers, even the smallest customers that are on their relatively new cloud offering. They really do care about our 2 companies.
I don't know where to go from that. That's a pretty strong endorsement. They sent people out, recreated things in the lab, had people on site for a 50-seat call center. That's an impressive level of support. I can see why that made such an impression on you. A lot of companies, anything like a 50-seat call center, they would just ignore as not worth their time.
Well, and sometimes whenever you work through struggles together, then relationships become stronger. Well, they can go both ways. Whenever you've got a problem, and especially if you have a big one, the relationship could go south, or the relationship could be stronger than ever. And that happened between our company and our customer in NEC in this instance. The relationship between all 3 of us in this case, the relationship and partnership of trust, reached depths of new levels that we would have never had if we had not gone through the problem.
When we spoke in the past, you mentioned a crawl, walk, run philosophy that NEC used to approach hosted or cloud telephony, in particular the UNIVERGE Blue product. Can you describe what you meant by that?
Let me give you some background. I was at the Lighthouse Dealers Meeting, or whatever it was called, 1st of November. And the whole time I was thinking that they're going into this with a crawl, walk, run philosophy. I was thinking it, but I wasn't saying it. I would have gotten those words. They're not my words. It would be a concept that was discovered in Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. And it was one of those characteristics of companies that I admired a lot. What was interesting is people associated with UNIVERGE Blue said that was their philosophy before I said it. And it was refreshing to hear them say it before I said it. I would probably sum it up this way. NEC is this huge corporation with all these enormous resources and has a history in the telephone industry that dates back to 1899. Yet they have this crawl, walk, run philosophy in this new arena of cloud phone solutions. They simply won't gobble up market share at the expense of unhappy customers. The culture of NEC simply will not tolerate any unhappy customers. And furthermore, NEC's rich history and their stability and NEC's partnership at the local level with companies like ours, like ServiceMark, provides unique strengths that I just don't see with other cloud phone system offerings.
Sounds like ServiceMark has also approached hosted or cloud telephony with a crawl, walk, run attitude. Is that an accurate statement?
That is accurate, yes. As we have dove deep into the cloud, we see some great possibilities of UNIVERGE Blue. We see it being a great play for some of our small customers, and it can be cost-effective cost-effective and reliable, because if their internet service is reliable, then they can do this, and it can displace the cost of telephone lines. And so we can see that where there are some benefits to this. And the other thing is UNIVERGE Blue provides some big enterprise-level features that may not be available in a small to medium-sized business telephone system. So while it is a great play, we're also seeing that we're going to be selling NEC on-premises telephone systems for a long time. They're not going to go away overnight. They're not going to go away here in Kansas City just because some might say things like, well, everything's going to the cloud. People in Kansas City want more substance behind why they're going to do something than that. So it's refreshing for us to know that our core business of selling NEC telephone systems that are installed inside somebody's building is going to be here for quite some time, but yet at the same time we can see industry trends to where we have this opportunity to crawl, walk, and then run into the cloud.
Thank you, Bruce, for taking the time to speak with us today. Details about UNIVERGE Blue Business Cloud Services can always be found at univergeblue.com. If someone has questions about business phone systems in the Kansas City region, be it cloud-based or traditional on-premises phones, what's the best way to contact ServiceMark Telecom?
I would say first and foremost, go to our website at servicemark.net. There is a lot of information, I think helpful content, having to do with cloud versus on-premises telephone systems, content relating to a recent video that we published that opens up this subject is on our website. In addition to that, there's a computer telephony overview that provides some explanation of common configurations, primarily concentrating on on-premises telephone systems. We've also produced a lot of helpful how-tos and tips in terms of the operation of NEC business telephone systems on our website as well. So there's a lot of helpful information on our website at servicemark.net. We always love phone calls at 816-478-2000, and you can also email us at support@servicemark.net.
Sounds great. Thank you again, Bruce, and thank you for listening. We hope the week is treating everyone well.